Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is we are going to select a dark pencil and a light pencil, okay? But not black and white. So any two colors that you want to use, doesn't really matter. I'm going to go with like a kind of purple blue and what else should I do? Maybe, no, I'll go with a orange. There we go. Totally up to you what you want to do, but a dark and a light. And we're going to start off with some basic kind of techniques here, okay? Oh yeah, how do you hide the other people? Good question. So if you look at my screen and there's 3 dots in the top right, click on that and click on pin, and that will make my screen nice and big. Or you can go on speaker view because I'm the only one who's speaking, so that will be the same thing. Alright, so make sure you got that nice and big on your screen. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to just draw 9 little squares. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, I'm sure you guys can count to 9. Here's where we find out who's the OCD people and who is happy to have random shaped squares or rectangles. Alright. Cool. So we're gonna go through a few exercises here, and we're gonna kind of learn a bit about how the pencils work, and then how they can work together. So a few different techniques. So take your darker pencil, whatever dark color you've chosen, and in the first box we're going to use light pressure. Okay, so that's just where we just fill it in really lightly. Now it kind of helps to get a nice, keep the pencil in one position. You can see I've got my hand planted and I'm just sort of moving it back and forth. Because what happens is you get a nice flat piece on the bottom of the pencil, so it doesn't show up heaps of lines. Alright, so just a nice light pressure. As we go, just if you've got any questions, just drop them into the chat, it's fine. Okay, the second one is heavy pressure. Alright, so this is where I want you to press really nice and hard. Now, like everything, the paper you're using will make a bit of a difference. And so, if you're using sketching paper, it'll have something called a tooth. And that's like a very fine kind of grain, or, it's slightly rougher. So, compared to like computer paper, which is very smooth, like copier paper. So this kind of drawing is much better with a sketching paper rather than a smooth paper. So just, if you haven't got a sketching paper and it's handy, then grab it. Alright, and what I want you to do is just use your finger here, and I just want you to rub it on the light pressure, and then rub it on the heavy pressure square, and just notice the difference between those two. So the heavy pressure you'll find is quite a waxy finish, isn't it? Rather than the kind of more matte finish of the light. So that's what happens when you press really hard with colour pencil, you get quite a waxy finish. And pretty much at that point, you can't add any more pencil over top. Okay, unless you've got like really good quality pencils. It's hard to add any other colours or tones into them. Okay, so we're going to come back to that idea in a minute. The next one is called graduation. And if you did my previous course, you'll remember this from the first week. And that's where we start off dark on one side. Okay? And then we press lighter and lighter as we go forward. Okay, so fill that into that third square. By the time you get to the end of that, you want to be almost nothing. Okay, so just really super light on that side and really dark on the other side. Doesn't matter which way you do it. Nice. You guys keeping up all right? It's not too fast, eh? Sweet. Okay, now, carrying on. We're going to do something, I think last time we talked about, well, actually I might have talked about it in my pen drawing course, but we're going to do something called hatching. Hatching is where you draw lines that just go in one direction, okay? And the technique is you want to turn your pencil around so you've got a sharp edge, and you're just drawing like individual lines. Okay, so you lift up, draw down, and then lift up. Don't go back and forth on the paper, just only down strokes. That's called hatching. And what will happen with your pencils is they will start to wear out, go blunt. And so what I like to do is use a craft knife to sharpen them. But if you've got a pencil sharpener, then you can definitely use that. Cool. Handy little tin lid there. Okay, hatching, and then the next one on the list is called cross hatching. And I'm sure you guys can figure that out. It's basically just your lines like hatching, but then lines going in opposite directions. And you can have as many different directions as you want to. But the trick is that they are individual little lines. So rather than just like coloring in, they're actually separate lines. And that's a really good way of sort of building up tone if you don't want to go too dark, if you just want to add some lines. And I'll show you in a little bit when we do another shape.